So I'm taking a little walk on the treadmill this morning as I do this. But what's going on, everyone? Just blessings and love from Malanne Slater Coleman again, the psychotherapist. So I wanted to do like a reaction from a psychotherapist perspective to the very powerful interview on the Breakfast Club with Gucci Mane and Keyshia Kayor. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Um, and the way they just dove into mental health, they delved into substance abuse, caregiving, marriage, um, and just real life transformation as it pertains to, he was talking about his new book. So if you're a wife, a mom, a helper, or even a healer, or you just want to be inspired, just stick around, okay? Just hear me out. So in the episode, Gucci reveals that he's been diagnosed with, I think, bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. And he opens up about some of the darkest moments. He talks about psychosis, hearing voices, feeling paranoid. He talked about substance abuse. And Keisha, being the wife that she is, she stood by his side. She shared that she has developed a system just to be able to protect him when an episode hits by deleting his socials, locking down devices, watching changes in his behavior, such as sleeping, his eating, communication. They talked about the stakes. They're raising a family, they built businesses, and Gucci says that he does not want to have an episode that he cannot come back from. That is powerful. That means he want to change. Okay, so here is what stood out to me. There are certain themes. So the first one is authenticity and vulnerability. So I was struck by how open Gucci was, right? As a psychotherapist, just hearing someone off his profile talk so candidly about hearing voices, being in a warped world, right? That is both rare and it's deeply meaningful as well. It just tears down the stigma and it shows that this can happen to anyone. But at the same time, here's Keisha's her admission of being his support system, of really stepping into a caregiver or a therapist role, or therapist adjacent, I would say, because she's not a therapist. That was powerful. And it reminded me that healing is relational. We do not always do it alone, right? Oftentimes we cannot do it alone. So the second theme that I recognized was the caregiver's burden and identity. It's not easy to be a caregiver. When Keisha described the difficulty of caring for him, of being the anchor, the monitor, the safety net, I felt that. Because as a mom and wife and therapist, and I'm also a caregiver for my mom, not to that extent, but I know how many hats we wear. And sometimes the supporter role can overshadow our own needs. So self care can be put on the back burner. I love that she named that burden. But I also noticed that she did not deny her own agency, right? She said, I do this because I want to. That distinction matters. Another theme that I recognized during the interview was related to systems, boundaries, and prevention. So her system to be able to catch warning signs, catch the withdrawal, no sleep, eat, abrupt texting resonated, right? Because in therapy, we speak about early intervention. She's living it. And she's added that technology or access boundaries. That is practical. So, as a Jamaican sister, I also connected with her culturally, right? We sometimes hold things inside and we don't always speak to professionals, but hearing this couple speak about therapy, speaks about diagnoses, medication, it just moves the needle for us too. And I hope other Jamaicans are taking heed. Um, Regarding their marriage and family as motivation. So the idea that Gucci did not want to raise a family while mentally unwell. Like he asked, what if I have an episode I can't come back from? Right? Hits home for many of us because we carry not just ourselves, but our children. Oftentimes, or family, they are the most important people, or spouses, or legacy. That responsibility can both motivate and they can weigh heavy on us as well. So, what have I taken away? If you're a helper or a giver, a wife, a mom, a partner, a friend, a therapist, just listen, okay? Having the strength to support someone does not remove your own need for support. It's okay to check in on you, okay? If you're experiencing mental health challenges or substance issues, seeking help, creating safety systems, leaning on trusted people, this interview shows that there is hope and it's real. If you're part of the Jamaican community or any community where mental health is still a taboo topic, it's still stigma. It's not just Jamaican community, but also the Black community in general. This is a moment to talk, okay? To normalize asking for help, to build system, to recognize warning signs. So here are some things that I would like for you to ponder on, okay? As you go about your day, your week, what does it look like to be both the partner and the support person? How do you avoid caregiver burnout? How do you establish boundaries when your loved one's symptoms affect the entire household? How does culture, Jamaican, Caribbean, the Black communities, influence our willingness to acknowledge mental health issues, seek help, or talk about substance abuse openly? And what is your system? Think about that. If you or someone you're close to is navigating this, what protective steps can you put in place? So big up to Keyshia, right? And Gucci for being transparent. I know that they're in the media, especially Keyshia, people talking about she's his handler. But I think she's doing a phenomenal job as a psychotherapist. That's my lens. So big them up for being transparent in a space where many remain silent. And as a sister, as a wife, as a mom, as a therapist, because I love my roles, I'm grateful for this conversation. There is no shame in the journey. There is no weakness in reaching for help or being the bedrock for someone else. But there's also no shame in saying, I need support. If you found this reaction useful, just please hit like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts or questions. Let's build a community that keeps talking. Let's keep healing. Okay? One love.